Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau tried to hit back at President-elect Trump, but instead he managed to insult you, all of you Americans out there. You may remember at a recent meeting, Trump reportedly suggested to Trudeau that Canada become the 51st state if the country couldn't handle his border tariffs. Trump then doubled down on the jab, labeling the prime minister the, quote, governor of Canada. Here's Trudeau's attempt at a counterpunch.
We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly.
You are a disgrace.
But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist. You will always have an ally in me and in my government.
Well, he seemed very proud of himself right there. I mean, Kennedy, could a counterpunch get any lamer?
No, I watched that and I went, wow, Justine Trudeau. What
Justine?
Governor of the year.
What brand of tampons do you use?
Oh, my goodness.
Brand of tampons. Justine. Not Justin, Justine.
How get feminist?
Tim
It's like, my goodness. Ooh, I'm trembling with fear. Please don't invade us with your soy boyness.
Lauren, okay, so the Canadian Prime Minister insults all Americans. That's what he did.
It just seems so unnecessary. Why are you meddling in our politics and making those comments when you're not very popular at home and you're up for re-election next year? And I was so surprised we didn't play Taylor Swift music on the way in, because remember, it was just a few weeks ago. Trudeau went to the Taylor Swift concert while there were attacks on the police and these pro-Palestinian protests that got out of hand. And he did respond and condemn the violence, but it was so late and so not satisfying. And then he doubles down with this. It's just unnecessary.
It is. David, you mentioned your radio programs on in Canada, and your callers are not big fans of Trudeau.
No, look, if even in his home district around Montreal, they don't like him anymore. Trudeau is simply not well liked, mainly because he's failed. Like so many leftists, he's failed. He's up against Pierre Poilievre, and it looks like there is a real chance for certainly not just a conservative governor in the sense of a new prime minister, someone who will govern that way, but chance that the people in Toronto and even in Quebec and others will come together under what they need. They don't want to be treated like the convoy was treated when they had their freedom convoys, when they shut down their bank accounts. They don't want to be treated as second class to the illegal aliens that Trudeau welcomes. And Trudeau will always be a failure. He'll never even be what his father was. And his father was a bad enough leftist.
Yeah. Do you mind if I double down with you a little bit, David? Because you're talking with people from Canada. You know, it's not a dictatorship. They voted for him. You said they don't like him anymore.
They saw the results of his soy boyness. I'm sorry, I have to steal that one.
Please, take it.
They call him that all the time when they call in from Canada. But the fact is, they saw what happened. He had a legacy name, Trudeau. That's how he won. He had a lot of support. And to be fair, back then when he was elected, the outer provinces were not as engaged politically. But once they saw what happened, just like we saw people come over to the non-leftist side in America, away from the Democrats, away from Kamala, towards Trump, Canada's now doing the same thing. And for the record, there are a lot of proud Canadians. They play a lot of pond hockey. That's what's going on now. But a lot of them don't mind our relationship. They love our relationship. And I welcome you. 51st state, come on in.
Come on in.
Yeah, and I mean, Harris, maybe, just maybe, American voters rejected Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, not because of gender, but because they didn't believe in their plans for the country.
No, that's exactly true. I mean, this was not a cry against women, although Hillary Clinton even had trouble getting women on the left to come to some of her events here in New York City. I mean, I remember that. I remember those rather empty events. No, it's about policy. It's about leadership. And yeah, you know, there's the quotient of likability. It's not even about that. In the end, people want to be able to afford food. They want to have a pathway to the American dream, and they didn't see it through those two women. And I don't even think they were all that similar. I mean, the Democrats put up very different women. So it isn't like they had some gender thing in common or anything in common other than their gender. They just chose differently. And timing is everything. It was time for Kamala to sit down.
Well, it's to sit down. And maybe, Trudeau, instead of insulting your greatest ally, you could work on rectifying the trade imbalance. That's going to become a problem for you January 20th.
Beef between Trudeau and Trump is going to be interesting, y'all. Oh, Canada. Shout out to my Canadians, baby. But look what Trump said. It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau, the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon, so that we may continue our in-depth talks of tariffs and trade, the result of which will be truly spectacular for all. Oh man, Trump. Hey man, we are back and America has a voice now, man. So hope y'all ready. January 20th can't get here any sooner. Let's go back. Let's go back to 20. Y'all remember this? 2018. Check this clip out.
Mr. President, Susan Lee from Fox Business. Did you reject a one-on-one meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau?
Yeah, I did.
Why?
Because his tariffs are too high and he doesn't seem to want to move. And I've told him, forget about it. And frankly, we're very unhappy with the negotiations and the negotiating style of Canada. We don't like their representative very much. And I love Canada, by the way.
Prime Minister Trudeau talking about you last night.
Well, he's two-faced. But, you know, the truth is that I called him out, and I guess he's not very happy about it. We're being taken advantage of on trade. You know, they put out a document. I don't know if you saw it. They didn't want me to see it, but we found it. Perhaps they were trying to show the power they have. It's close to $100 billion a year loss with Canada. We finished the meeting. Really, everybody was happy. I left it. It was very friendly. When I got onto the plane, I think that Justin probably didn't know that Air Force One has about 20 televisions. And I see the television, and he's giving a news conference about how he will not be pushed around by the United States. And I say, push him around. We just shook hands. It was very friendly. He's two-faced. He's giving a news conference about how he will not be pushed around by the United States. And I say, we just shook hands. That he had because he assumed I was in an airplane and I wasn't watching. He's two-faced.
Oh,
he learned
man.
it's going to cost a lot of money for the people of Canada. He learned. You can't do that. You can't do that.
And just in case you miss again, as I showed you, these were the jabs from earlier, and then we got to see Justin Trudeau respond.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor. Right.
But more on that detail with the panel.
Peter subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.